As a continuation from yesterday's lesson on 6.5 on multiplying polynomials, there was one last example I wanted to do when you do a binomial times a binomial, just to show you what happens with the letters. So again, I'm going to FOIL the first two. 2a times a gives me 2a squared. 2a times 4b squared gives me positive 8ab squared. Negative b squared times a gives me negative b squared a. Now, as you can see, these two are actually like terms. I wrote the one on the left with the 8 as ab squared, but the second one, you can choose to write it as b squared times a or a times b squared. It doesn't really matter the way you write it. You can pick either one. Usually alphabetical is better, but you can pick whichever one you want. Just you need to be able to recognize that those two are like terms. Now, continuing with my foiling, I'll do my last. Negative b times 4b squared, or negative b squared times positive 4b squared gives me 4b to the fourth. Now, combining my like terms, first I've got 2a squared. I'm going to combine the two underlined terms. Those are my only like terms in this, and that's going to give me positive 7ab squared minus 4b to the fourth, and that would be my answer. I just wanted to show you what happens with those letters. It doesn't matter if you want to write ab squared or b squared times a. Just pick away and go with it. Now, we'll move on to some new problems. These ones we're multiplying a polynomial by a polynomial. You're still foiling, you just have to FOIL it out an extra few times depending on how big that polynomial is. So again, I'm going to take this first term of x and I am going to FOIL it to each one inside of the parentheses. X times x squared gives me x cubed. Next, x times negative 5x is negative 5x squared. X times 4 gives me positive 4x. Now I have to do all of that the same, but with the 2 this time. 2 times x squared gives me 2x squared. 2 times negative 5 gives me negative 10x. And 2 times 4 gives me positive 8. Now my job is to combine the like terms. Start with x cubed. He's all by himself. He doesn't have anyone that's like him. Now I have negative 5x squared and positive 2x squared. When I combine those, I get negative 3x squared. Next, I have positive 4x and negative 10x. When I combine those, I get negative 6x. And lastly, the 8, the constant. I don't have anyone to combine with him, so there's my final answer. That can be written in any order. You can do it in any order, but you just have to be careful of the signs that are in front of each term. All right. Here I have a binomial times a trinomial. Similar, that's exactly what I had in the problem above, but I do have this little negative sign right in there that I do have to pay attention to. All right, 3x times negative 2x cubed gives me negative 6x to the fourth. 3x times 5x gives me positive 15x squared. 3x times negative 6 is negative 18x. Negative 4 times negative 2x cubed. Again, being careful, they're both negative, so that does become positive 8x cubed. Negative 4 times 5x is negative 20x. And negative 4 times negative 6 is positive 24. Now, all the multiplying is done. Now I got to combine my like terms. Negative 6x to the fourth, there is nothing that is similar to that, so I can't combine it with anybody. Next, I have a 8x cubed, and I only have one of him. I also only have one with an x squared. I have negative 18x and negative 20x, which gives me negative 38x. And then the constant of 24 is all by itself. Rather long one. These are longer. The more terms you have to multiply, the longer the answers are going to be. All right, this is always a fun one. There's nothing that you can do here. There's no kind of shortcut, really. You have to simply rewrite it. And just like if I was multiplying 3 numbers, if I wanted to multiply 2 times 3 times 4, let's just say, you can't actually multiply them all at once. You'd have to multiply 2 of them. So let's say I multiply these 2 and I get 6. Multiplied by 4 gives me 24. You could multiply any 2 that you want. If I wanted to instead and I wanted to multiply the 3 and the 4, that would give me 12 times the 2, and I still get the same exact answer. So which 2 that you want to multiply first, it does not matter. For this problem, I am going to multiply these 2 first, just personal choice, and I'm going to FOIL. So x times x gives me x squared. X times negative 2 is negative 2x. Negative 2 times x, once again, is negative 2x. Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. When I clean that up and combine my like terms, I have x squared minus 4x times 4. Now, that original x minus 2 right here that came from the beginning, I'm going to put him out in front. Now, I'm going to FOIL these 2. I'm going to multiply the first 2, so that gives me x cubed. X times negative 4 is negative 4x squared. X times 4 is positive 4x. Next, negative 2 times x squared is negative 2x squared. Negative 2 times negative 4x, be careful of your negatives, this becomes positive 8x. Negative 2 times 4 is negative 8. So all my multiplying is done. Now I need to combine my like terms. I only have 1x cubed. I have negative 4x squared and negative 2x squared. That gives me negative 6x squared. I have 4x plus 8x gives me positive 12x, and then I have the negative 8. Again, it can be written in any order that you want. I happen to write it in standard form from the increasing to, or greatest to least, and according to the powers. But you can choose to do it any way that you want to write it, as long as you be careful with the signs. And our last one. Again, I'm doing the same exact thing here. I'm just multiplying out. 2x times x squared is 2x cubed, because remember there's a 1 here. 2x times negative 6x is negative 12x squared. 2x times 5 is positive 10x. Okay, for the 3 times x squared is 3x squared. 3 times negative 6 is negative 18x. And 3 times 5 is positive 15. Now, for combining my like terms, 2x cubed doesn't have anybody to combine it with. I've got negative 12x squared and positive 3x squared, which gives me negative 9x squared. I've got 10x minus 18x, which gives me negative 8x. And lastly, I've got the 15. That ends the lesson on multiplying polynomials. I'll do a short review on adding and subtracting, just to remind you, because we did have a quiz. We were scheduled to have a quiz yesterday. So when we do have our quiz this week on Friday, the majority of it will be multiplying polynomials, which is what I just finished teaching, and I will have a couple of adding and subtracting. Remember, with adding and subtracting, you do not touch the exponents like we did with when we were multiplying. We added the exponents stay the same.